Hi guys, welcome back. Another Chyaz video, another band t-shirt. This one is a Johnny Cash one that I got from Topshop not that long ago actually, so it's probably still available. And you can see it has these tassels on the back. It's pretty extra and I love it a lot. It's totally irrelevant to the theme of this video. This is actually going to be my wedding Q&A video that I didn't do before the wedding. So basically, well, as Instagram is telling me, 16 weeks ago, I asked you guys on Instagram what questions you would like me to answer in a wedding Q&A video, and you left loads of comments, so thank you so much to everybody who left me a question. One of the reasons that I didn't do the video before the wedding is because I realised that a lot of the questions were things that would result in me giving stuff away about the wedding that like Tiz didn't even know, for example. So I wanted to save this until after the wedding to answer these all for you, but hopefully you're still up for hearing the answers and that you'll enjoy this video. So the first question is from I hope I'm pronouncing everybody's names right as well. I believe it's pronounced Giulia.Olive, so I really hope that I've said your name correctly, or maybe Giulia. Please let me know if I'm wrong, because I don't want to get it wrong. Do you plan on wearing your hair up or down? So, as you'll be able to see in this picture, I actually decided to wear my hair mostly down with little bits of it pinned back. And the reason behind that was because I never wear my hair up, and when I do, I don't feel like myself. And one of my like key things for the wedding day is that I wanted to feel totally myself. Like, I didn't want to do or have any makeup done that was like totally different from what I like, or suddenly have like cat eye eyeliner and red lipstick, because that's not what I really do, and I wanted to make sure that I still felt like me, and that when Tiz saw me he thought I looked like the best version of me rather than like some other person. So yeah, that's what I did, and I don't regret it at all, and the curls stayed in perfectly. My hair and makeup was done by a lovely lady called Bethany, who owns a wonderful beauty salon in Manchester called the Vintage Beauty Parlour. She's amazing. I'll put her link below, but yeah, I loved my hair and makeup, and hopefully I'm going to talk about it in more detail in another video, but that's the answer to that question. Jenny asks, what has been your favourite item / part of the day to plan so far? So my favourite parts were obviously finding the venue, which was so much fun. I loved wedding dress shopping, obviously, that was incredible. Really fun experience, and I can't wait to talk to you more about my dress. I loved cake tasting and cake designing, that was really fun. I loved buying our wedding rings, because that felt like a really fun thing that we were able to do together, because so much of the wedding planning you end up doing apart, so that was another really awesome thing that I loved. Yeah, I think those are probably my favourite bits. Some bits are a bit stressful, like doing all your budget and your spreadsheets and your fine details can sometimes be a little bit thingy, but that might actually be another question, so I'm not going to say too much about that. Actually, it's the next question from Jen Tucker. She said, what part is stressing you out the most? I would say that the most stressful part of the wedding for me was just the logistics with all of the different parts of the day, like making sure that the food was going to work properly with the drinks, and that everyone's dietary requirements were okay, and that we were doing everything within budget. So like all of the like fine details and the money side of things is a little bit stressy, but honestly, by and large, I was so chilled. I think as it got closer to the day, I was a bit like, we need to do stuff, but honestly, I mean, especially on the actual day itself, like, people said, like, they've never seen such a chilled out bride, because I was just like, guys, it's the day, this is going to be amazing! And we had a really great time, so it worked out well. I'm battling with the sun again a bit today, guys, but if I try to change my lighting and stuff, the sun will just go in and it'll be dark, so let's just roll with it. Hope it's okay. So Siren XX asked, do you have a theme for your wedding, and how did we decide on a date? So our wedding theme was just us, really. Like, we had a colour scheme which was like silver, baby pink and greys and whites, and then theme wise we had a lot of elements of like Hong Kong in there, because that's where we got engaged. nerdy stuff, like our wedding cake was really nerdy and great, but I'm going to talk to you more about that soon. Our adventures, like for example our table names were places that we travelled in the world and things, so it was just stuff that meant a lot to us, and I think we just kept it straightforward with that really. So schaefi asked, did you already buy the dress and are you wearing white? So at this point when the question was asked, I had already bought the dress and it was white. It was technically like off-white, but it was pretty white. I tried on lots of different dresses and in different shades and different colours and different hues of white and things, and that was the one that I loved. I am going to be doing like a full dress blog post and talk all about the dress, so there will be lots more information to come, but yes, it was white and I'm very, very happy that I chose it. Tamarabwilliams, what aspect of the wedding did you spend most of your budget on? I'm going to say it was the venue itself, because we had a venue which also had accommodation for our guests, so and we had the whole estate, like, so it was a huge venue and we had access to all of it, so that was amazing, and it was so important to us to get like the perfect venue, and that was it, and we're so happy we did it. We loved our venue so much. So Sean Schulman asks, hi Chyaz, did you ever at any point doubt that Tiz was the one, or not think you'd make it through ups and downs, long distances, rough patches, etc.? So we've been asked this quite a lot actually, because we got together when I was 17 and Tiz was 18, and we went through university together, and we definitely know that the odds were against us, but we've never like broken up in that whole time, and we've always stayed together. So obviously every relationship has ups and downs, but Tiz was just, I don't know, like I knew that he was my person from like the first date. Like I knew that there was something special. So we've actually been together for 10 years. It's 10 years this year, and I'm really happy that we waited that long to get married. Like, it's not as if I didn't know that I wanted to marry Tiz before that, because I've known for like forever that I wanted to marry Tiz, but doing it after 10 years feels like all the sweeter. It's hard to explain, but I love that we did that, and he's my person and I love him. Now again, I really hope that I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I think it's Sylvie, but it might be Sylvie. But I really hope I've got it right. Asks, are there any customs that are typical in the UK for weddings that you would not like to include in your big day? One thing that actually I'm sure there were quite a few things that we didn't do that were like traditional things. So when we were actually doing the ceremony, beforehand the registrar had asked me whether I wanted her to ask my dad for permission to like give me away to Tiz, and I was like, no, of course not. So like little things like that where I was like, I'm not property, was like, you know, more of like the really old-fashioned stuff, and I was like, no. There were probably lots of things. I didn't throw my bouquet because it was massive and it would have probably knocked someone out, and one of my guests would have had to be taken to hospital. What else didn't we do? We didn't do like a traditional father and daughter dance after the first dance. What we did was absolutely went crazy and like moshed and danced to Rollin' by Limp Bizkit instead, because that's more of our style. Tory asked, what is your colour theme and how many bridesmaids? So I mentioned the colour scheme just before, so it was the baby pink with the silver and the grey and the white, and then bridesmaids, I had 4 bridesmaids. My sister was my maid of honour, and then I had 2 of my best friends from my like whole life, like from school, and we're still all best friends, and another one of my other best friends who I've met in more recent years. So yeah, 4 bridesmaids all in all, maid of honour and 3 bridesmaids, if you see what I mean. Valerie Ray asked how many people we planned on inviting and what kind of space are we using for the ceremony and reception. So if you add up like all of the guests from the day and the evening, I think all in all it was about 100 people for like the grand total of the whole day, like daytime and evening. Our ceremony room was quite small, so that wasn't like the biggest of ceremonies. But it was all in one place. So we had like the beautiful ceremony, which is like in this glass house. By the way, the name of our venue was Combermere Abbey, and it's beautiful. So we had this like glass house ceremony, and then you walked out and there was like a big pavilion where we had everything else. So it was a 2-minute walk between the two, all on this beautiful estate, which worked perfectly. And Soul Nikki asked, what are you most afraid of? I honestly wasn't afraid of anything, really. Like, I wasn't nervous or anything like that. The only thing I hoped is that everything would run smoothly, which I think is a perfectly like normal thing to think. So I didn't have like a fear. There wasn't like, oh my god, like what if there's no food there, like what if there's some issue with the caterers, or what if like X, Y, Z. Like I didn't really worry about that kind of stuff. Like as a person, I can sort of roll with it, and I think whatever happens, happens. I think some people were like, are you really worried about the weather? But we were really lucky with the weather. I mean, in the UK, you could pay thousands and thousands of pounds more to get married in July and it would still rain, so I wasn't really bothered. But actually for our whole daytime there was no rain, and then we only had like a little bit of drizzle in the evening, but everyone was inside by then and it was dark, so who cares. But yeah, we didn't have any rain in the day itself. I was like, thank you world. Zegargentine asks, how much of the day itself do you plan to make public and put online, and do you plan on keeping it private and having friends and family sort of thing? So up until the day happened, I was very private about everything, but now that it's done, I feel like I want to share lots of it because it was such a happy occasion. Like, why wouldn't I want to share it? I'm still not sure whether I'll put our wedding highlights video online. I don't know. I need to see it first, and I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know. That's a really weird one. I don't know. And there's some photos I haven't put on yet. We haven't had all of our photos back, but we've had some back. I think I'll just be selective and see how I feel, and also like what Tiz thinks as well, because Tiz is much more private than I am, but I'm quite private anyway, so I don't know. We'll play it by ear, and I always run things by Tiz. Like a photo that he's in or something that concerns him, I always ask him about it before I put it online, because I just think it's like a courteous thing to do. So we'll see how we go. Pretty Turtle 95 asks, how did we pick the venue? So our venue was actually the first one that we looked at. I mentioned it's called Convermere Abbey. It had everything, it ticked all of the boxes. We made a do want and don't want list for the venues, and then we picked our venue based on the one that matched our criteria best. Everything being in one place so people didn't have to travel, accommodation for guests who want to stay over, historical, those were our criteria, and it fit them all perfectly. It wasn't a religious ceremony, and it's not religious at Convermere Abbey, so that was perfect as well. Jessica Page Strudwick asks, where do you see your relationship going after the wedding, or what goals do we have afterwards? So we've actually talked about this quite a lot, because a lot of people are asking us that question, and honestly we're just enjoying being newlyweds. It's really fun. We have, the thing about me and Tiz is that because we've been together for so long as well, we have our marriage. Oh, I nearly said relationship. We have our marriage and we love our marriage, but we also are very independent people, and we have personal goals like career, life, things we want to do. So we're focused on lots of different things and supporting each other with those too. So I think like for the short term especially, or like the near future, it's a lot of like focusing on things that we want to achieve like personally as well, and yeah, just like enjoying being married. It's great. I hope I say this right. Shenanigans? Is that like shenanigans, but shenanigans? I love it. What was something you knew you wanted to include before the planning began? Did we make it happen? So things like little touches that we knew we wanted to have. So for example, we had a guest book, but we also had like a guitar that everyone signed. That was a cool little thing. It's just like more of like little bits and bobs. I knew I wanted my dress to be quite big, so that was something that was cool. Just making like people feel quite special as well. So little things we did were like, we put people's nicknames on their place setting so that it just was like a personal touch. So some of them were hilarious nicknames, and it just made people laugh, and it was like fun little things like that. Yeah, I loved that. Avrilupdate asks, are you going to play some Avril Lavigne songs at your wedding? Of course. I vividly remember dancing away to Skater Boy like a crazy person, and I had a great time doing it. Okay, that's it. That's all the questions that were on the Instagram thread. So thank you guys so much for asking them. I hope you've enjoyed the answers. If you have any more questions, please do leave them below. But don't forget that I am going to be doing a full wedding series on my blog and a couple of videos here as well. So do check those out once they get going. It's chyaz.com. Have a little look on there. I've been doing loads of stuff on my blog, so do go and see what's happening over there. Instagram as well, loads of stuff, loads of photos shared on there. So links below, give me a follow. I would really appreciate it. It would mean a lot. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back next week Thanks for watching, have a great week, and I'll see you later. Bye. Bye. Mwah. Bye.